see that some things are universal around campuses. Everyone fills the back seats first. If anyone would like to come down front, we are going to open it up for questions. It's a whole lot easier to ask questions when you're 10 feet away rather than 50 feet away. Okay. Let me give it a try. Some things are universal. They never listen to that at Michigan. Okay. So what we want to talk about today in this session is bringing together the ideas from my plenary and from two previous the breakout sessions. Really think about where students are going with their careers, how this all fits in. And we discussed how to start. And first they were going to just sort of summarize a little bit about their presentations, since half of you saw one, half of you saw the other. And then I'll just ask a few questions, get a conversation going, and then we'll open up questions from the audience. So, Tom, would you like to start by telling an overview of what you discussed?
Oh, okay. I guess what we talked about is what got us into this field, why were we interested in sustainability. And from my perspective, it was in the 70s when I got interested in college, and there was a lot of concern around the environment, environmental pollution, cancer being caused by things, etc. So I mean, that's why I went into the field of biology, eventually toxicology, and really went more into academia. One of the things that I found out, and I actually did a postdoc at NIEHS in environmental toxicology. After spending about 10 years in the lab, studying the nuances of causing chromosomal changes in cells and culture, and maybe being linked to cancer, decided I wanted to go into industry. And I didn't really have the whole thought process formulated in my mind that that's where I could have more of an impact. But in retrospect, looking back, I think I've had a lot more impact by being in industry where I can actually influence the thinkers there and ultimately the technologies that end up reducing pollution, in this case diesel air pollution, and having a real impact on convincing leaders there that this is important, not so much the right thing to do, but also the cost-effective thing and the business strategy thing. So that's kind of where I came from and why I ended up in industry. And I think there's been a real advantage in going that route because as I talked in my talk, it's important to interact with regulatory agencies, with the scientists that are out there, publish, be able to analyze the literature. To me, it's just good product stewardship to make sure that your products aren't causing issues. If others think they are, to be able to address that and try to convince them that that's not the case. So it's been rewarding to go into the industry, and there aren't many of us there, so that's another advantage. you want to be in demand.
Sure. I think in my talk, it's sort of hopefully ask students to take action. A lot of times, when you study movements, back in the 60s, they had Woodstock and the anti-war movement. I would describe FOSS as It Found Me, and this was sort of my protest movement, if you will. And the way I wanted to protest was take action of the policies that I didn't agree with, and with my scientific background, that I could do something positive for. And not only could I do something, create a product, biodiesel, but maybe more importantly, take care of the health and welfare of the entire community by the entire methodology that FOSS uses of being community-based. We have this sort of microplant concept of instead of building 100 million gallon plant, we're going to build 1 million gallon plants, become the McDonald's of biodiesel, if you will. And by that, we create jobs locally, we create a tax base, and we actually build something, make something, which in America it seems, like, oh, we actually make things. And bring that sort of pride back to our local communities. And I was blessed to have the mayor of Blue Island in my session, and that's where we're putting up our first plant. And having that sort of vision and courage by him, and hopefully that can be sort of a model that we can then take to other communities, both at the local level, state level, and hopefully national level. So it's something that I'm excited to be on a college campus. It's been quite a while since I've been 19. So one, kudos to all the sophomores and juniors and freshmen and seniors that are here. I think 6 o'clock, I don't remember me doing this back in college, so my hat's off to you for being so mature. But I think sustainability is a field where this is just the beginning. Think of this as maybe 1985 for the PC industry. I don't even think Bill Gates was a billionaire, was he? I think he was still only a multi-millionaire, you know? And so that's how young this industry is. And if you want to have a rewarding career, not only financially, which is important, I mean, there's school debt to think about and bills to pay, but having a life full of value and purpose and a sense of mission, if you will. I'm at a Catholic university. I mean, there's a sense of providence here, you know, that you can have, you can be filled not only with dollars, but a sense of legacy and redemption, if you will. Something that at the end of our days, we can feel sort of proud that we left the earth better than the way we found it. And that's what FOSS has been to me, and it's been an incredible blessing. Sort of serendipity of how I sort of came across this. Some of my research down at Oregon and some of my graduate work at the University of Chicago, but ultimately it was people that I came across and said, you know, what if we try this together? And sort of, you know, like little molecules sort of coming together, eventually turned into FOSS. And so, and I'm just grateful to have this opportunity to sort of share this message. I often say my biggest competition is awareness. Of educating people that we can take recycling to a whole new level, if you will. Is that sustainability isn't something that has to be trapped in just a corporate boardroom, that you as a student sitting right here, you can have a meaningful impact in the world that you will be living for. And ultimately, all of this is going to be done for grandchildren, and quite frankly, even great-grandchildren that haven't even been born yet. There's an old saying by Iroquois chiefs that when they make decisions, they make a decision today based on 7 generations from today. I mean, 7 generations at minimum is 150 years. The way most corporations deal today is quarter to quarter. I mean, you know, we're talking 3-month increments. Some countries in Asia, particularly Japan, I'm thinking, when they write business plans, you know, these are like 50-year business plans. So that we're getting closer to what the Iroquois sort of taught us. But that's how I would like to see sort of FOSS sort of grow organically, if you will, is that every little Susie and Johnny out there, I want them to say, hey, we can build a FOSS plant here. And eventually have their own sort of ideas of how they want to see this world happen. Yeah, if you have any questions, please let us know. I'm looking forward to this discussion.
And so I hope what you're hearing in these remarks are things you might not normally expect to hear from people in business. When I think about sustainability, I think about what it's really at the core is about redefining the role of the corporation in society. Getting back to what it was all about in the first place, serving society, making the world a better place. That sounds corny, but I do think that that is at the core of what sustainability infused into business is all about. That shift is coming from the ground up. I can tell you that looking around the country, the student demand for this stuff is going through the roof. I can tell you also what gets President's attention, donor interest is going through the roof as well. And that is getting a lot of universities start to chase this. At Michigan, I'm the director of a program where students in 3 years get 2 degrees. They get an MBA, and they get a master's from the School of Natural Resources and Environment. And it used to be I'd go to the School of Natural Resources and Environment, and they'd look at me and call me a capitalist sellout. And I'd go to the business school, and they'd look at me and call me a tree hugger. And I'd be stuck between 2 worlds. Those stereotypes are stale, and they're old, and they really don't work anymore. Within the environmental community, I described that it's actually cleaving into 2. You have bright greens and dark greens. Dark greens say that the market is the problem, businesses are the problem. The bright greens say the market is the solution, business is the source of that solution. And that's the reality of the world today. And I really try to teach my students that corporations like Coke or Navistar, they're not monoliths. There are people inside these companies that really want to drive it in certain directions to benefit society, to benefit the environment, and make a company more successful. It can be done. There's a lot of cynicism that gets in the way, but these 2 gentlemen sitting here are describing those very motives to really think about the idea of purpose and calling in